right, so we're doing more related rates. This is example 2. So when I did the intro, I talked about how you should use DreadSaw as a good way to walk through a typical related rates problem, right? And the D and R in DreadSaw is for diagram and rates, and you draw them and you label them and all that other stuff. So, but I also mentioned that the D and R part of DreadSaw is not always applicable because sometimes it's just not a real world situation and you're just given an equation and you go with it. So here, I'm given x squared times y cubed equals 8. And I'm told, given dy dt equals 3, find dx dt when x is 1. So I already have an equation, right? So my equation is x squared y cubed equals 8, right? So I'm going to derive that equation with respect to t. Now, this is a product rule because it's two things that are being multiplied and can't be simplified. So u, exactly as it is, dv will be a 3y squared dy dt because I just derived with respect to something that's not y, plus v, which is y cubed, du, which is going to be a 2x dx dt, and then on the other side I should get a 0 because I derived the 8, right? So I know dy dt, right? And I know that x is 1, so that takes care of the x's. I want dx dt, so it seems to me that the only piece of information, so I want this thing, right? It seems to me the only piece of information I'm missing to be able to find that quantity is whatever value y is. So in order to find y, I'm going to plug in x is 1 and solve for y. So if I want to find y when x is 1, I'm going to get 1 squared y cubed equals 8. So y cubed is an 8. Oh, look, my y is 2. So now that I know y is 2, I plug in all my values and I can solve for the quantity I want. So x squared would be 1 squared, so that's 1, times 3 times 4, right? Times dy dt, which is a 3, right? Plus y cubed, well, that would be an 8 times 2 times my x, which is a 1, times dx dt equals 0. So when I clean these guys up, 3 times 4 times 3 is a 36, right? So I have 36 plus 16 dx dt equals 0. I want to solve for dx dt, so I'll subtract the 36 over, and I get dx dt is a negative 36 divided by 16, right? If I want to cancel the 4s, I don't have to, but if I want to, it's a negative 9/4. Now here, remember, you're supposed to answer with units if applicable, but here it's not, right? So here your answer is dx dt is negative 9/4, and there's not much I can do about it because there are no units, right? So again, DreadSaw is a really good way to deal with the word problem related rates problems, but sometimes you're just handed an equation.